All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. So, folks, the buck stops here as we got one more game in this college football season. And of course, one more game is the biggest one. And I'm talking about the national championship that is set to take place tomorrow night in South Florida. So we've got the Miami Hurricanes, okay, playing on their own home field, set to take on the Indiana Hoosiers. You look at it, one team was expected to get here, the other team wasn't, and the other team that wasn't expected to be here was Miami. And I'll tell you like this, 6 weeks ago or so, the Hurricanes were on that bubble looking to get into the college football playoff. Not only did they get in, but Miami has made the most out of their opportunity. They went on the road and knocked off Texas A&M and the defensive struggle in the first round. They upset the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes in the college football playoff quarters. An epic thriller between Miami and Ole Miss in the semis, and now the Hurricanes are playing on their home field. Shades of the old Orange Bowl, and the reason why I say it is this: you go back how many times during the 1980s and 1990s where Miami, played in the Orange Bowl on their own home field in a game that did decide or help to decide in those days the national champion. You look at it on the other side. I think we've got a real good story here with Indiana. You think about, excuse me, where this program has been for the bulk of its existence, where they were just 2 years ago when Kurt Signetti took things over. Indiana was 3-9 in 2023, the last year prior to Signetti. And since then, the Hoosiers are 26-2. And Indiana is 60 football minutes away from becoming the first college football team at the FBS level to win 16 games in a season. Also, they have an opportunity to win their first championship in program history. Indiana is no longer just a basketball school, folks. So you look at this thing and you ask yourself, what does Indiana have to do to cap off their dream season? First things first, you look at the Heisman winner that they have at quarterback in Fernando Mendoza. His last game in college, he's been locked in all season long. He's returning home, okay? And not only is he returning home, he's returning home to face the team that didn't want him in Miami, okay? So now you got to try to find a way to slow down Mendoza. And it's one of those where he's not just a one-trick pony. And the reason why I say that is this offense is not just about Fernando Mendoza. You look at Indiana's balance that they have. You look at their two running backs with Roman Hemby and Kalen Black. You look at their receivers with Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt. It's going to be imperative for that Miami pass rush to try to get to Fernando Mendoza, but it's going to be easier said than done due to the fact that Indiana has so much balance on offense. That's going to be key there. You talk about this Miami pass rush with Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor. They've got to win first and second down. And not just winning first and second down. They've got to win the downs when Indiana is running the football, forcing them into second and long, third and long situations to try to make Mendoza just beat them from the pocket. But he's so athletic at the same time. So there's a lot of keys in this game right here. Also, I'm looking at this Indiana defense with the likes of Aiden Fisher and Elijah Hardy at linebacker. That's the strength of this Indiana team. But they can come at you with waves because they can get after a quarterback. And that's going to be important. Why? Because, with the exception of that last drive against Ole Miss, we really haven't seen Carson Beck have to take over a game so far in this CFP. He might have to tomorrow night. 6 of his 11 interceptions have come in losses for Miami this season. So can Indiana get to him and rattle him? That's going to be important right there. I think for this Hoosiers defense, all eyes are going to be on Miami running back Mark Fletcher, and of course, the phenomenal freshman Malachi Tony. You think about what Mark Fletcher has been able to do running the football in this postseason run from Miami. He had 172 yards on the ground against Texas A&M, 90 against that very stout Ohio State defense, and then he got Ole Miss for a buck 33. Okay, what is he going to do against this Indiana defense? One of the top defenses in the nation as well. I look at it clearly, home field advantage. We know that for Miami, it's going to be more green and orange in the stadium than it is crimson and cream. It's one of those where this is arguably going to be the most hostile environment that Indiana has had to travel to all season long. Remember, when they took on Penn State, yeah, they went to Happy Valley, but a lot wasn't expected of Penn State at that point in the season. On top of that, they faced Ohio State on a neutral field. This time around, it's going to be a little bit different. Uh, the new life hyphen F1s, what's going on? I really think that Brian Haynes is the best DC in college football. I'll tell you like this, man, what we have seen from Indiana's defense all season long, you simply cannot just write it off. Only Oregon and Penn State have scored 20 points on them this season. Okay. And the second time around, which we just saw in the Peach Bowl, I really don't count that one as far as 20 points because a lot of the points that the Ducks put up, that was in garbage time. But this Indiana defense, they get after you and they come after you in waves. And my biggest thing is, man, I think Kurt Signetti is going to have his team ready to go. They're not going to be faced, okay, by having to go onto Miami's home field and play. Mario Cristobal is going to have his team ready to play because you think about where the Hurricanes were before Cristobal took over this program and where he has gotten them to at this point as well. You're saying fourth total defense, second against the run. That's going to be key right there. Indiana, like I said before, defensively, they could come at you in waves. All right. We saw them stymie a darn good Alabama offense, albeit Alabama can't run the football like Miami can. We saw them set the tone on the first play of the game against Oregon. I think that's going to have to be key right there because whereas we really haven't seen Miami with the crowd so far this season or so far in the CFP, they're definitely going to have the home crowd advantage this time around in this college football playoff championship game. It's on their own home field. But Indiana's going to be up for the challenge, I truly do believe, as far as going out there and looking to slow down this defense. The physicality. Miami has been the more physical team in each one of their postseason games. Indiana's going to have to match that. And again, this is why it's important for the Hoosiers to have themselves a head coach like they do in Kurt Signetti because he's a guy who, like these are things that he coaches his team up for. So I'm looking at it, and I think this is going to be a phenomenal game from start to finish. Um, what this right here, either way, is going to complete the full turnaround for one of these programs, especially for Indiana, because it's one of those where you think about where they were when Kurt Signetti took over this program, and nobody expected anything out of Indiana when Signetti left James Madison to go there. And what he has done, okay, in Bloomington is the stuff that stories are made of. And like I said before during the season, when it's all said and done, he's going to have statues built not only in Bloomington, but I think throughout the state. He's going to have, streets named after him, you name it, this, that, and the third. And I think he has an opportunity to cap off that dream season on Monday night. I look at it like this. Indiana comes into this game. They're favored by 7.5. That line has dropped as we have gotten closer to kickoff. They were an 8.5 point favorite yesterday. They're 7.5 points now. Over unders 47.5. Game time kickoff temperature is going to be 61 degrees. Perfect setting for a championship game. For me, I think for Miami to go out there and win this game, they've got to stick to the script, keep running the football, take the pressure off of Carson Beck. It's going to be easier said than done against this Indiana defense. You're saying Canes have a good running back, but they only rank 72nd in rushing offense. Miami pretty much starts every game one dimensional. That's a recipe for disaster against Indiana. Listen, what we've seen so far from the Hoosiers in these two playoff games, it's been like the equivalent of fast break basketball because they come at you in waves. They jumped on Alabama in the Rose Bowl before they could blink. They jumped on Oregon in the Peach Bowl before they could blink. We saw Miami start fast against Ohio State. The fast start does account for something. Okay. I think it's going to come down to which team blinks first. Now, I will say this. I think if you're going to talk about Fernando Mendoza maybe having a turnover or two in this game against this Miami defense, I think Indiana can overcome that. If we're talking about Carson Beck having a turnover or two in this game, I'm not sure if Miami is going to be able to overcome this. I think it's one of those games where, as long as you don't come out tight, whoever comes out loose, whoever comes out ready to go, they're going to have an advantage. And clearly, that first score is definitely going to account for something. But when it's all said and done, I do think Indiana becomes the first team to go 16-0 in a college football season. They're favored by 7.5. I like them by 6 in this one. I'm going to say Indiana 30, Miami 24, and of course that would be the perfect cap to one of the best seasons in college football playoff history. It'd also be the perfect cap for Fernando Mendoza's season, winning a national championship. He's won the Heisman Trophy, and of course, coming back to his home city, beating the school that didn't want him. So that's all that's on the line for him. And of course, he's probably going to be the first pick of the draft in about 3 months or so by the Raiders. But nonetheless, when it's all said and done, I'm going Hoosiers tomorrow night to win the national title. But folks, that's going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. New Life, you're saying Hoosiers make you pay for every mistake. You're okay. You're going a little bit wider in your final. You're going 35-17. I think Miami's going to make them work for it. And I think Cristobal is going to try to will his team to win and try to feed, off of the home crowd, feed off of the alum. Because, there's going to be plenty of alum showing up and showing out at that game. Michael Irvin's going to be on the sideline. That's a whole nother story for another day. But I think nonetheless, it is going to be a dandy of a game. And New Life, I definitely want to, thank you for chiming in on this podcast. If you haven't subscribed to this channel already, please feel free to do it now. I definitely appreciate the support for all of you folks out there checking us out. Definitely like and subscribe as well. I got plenty to talk about for this game at its conclusion. Maybe Monday night, definitely Tuesday afternoon, as far as what went down between Miami and Indiana. Got plenty to continue to talk about on this channel for these NFL playoffs. I was trying to squeeze this in for between halftime of the Patriots Texans game. Of course, the second half just started back up. Let's see who's going to be going to Denver for that championship game right there. And also, you can check me out on the X at 300 Pounds of Sports. You give me that follow, I'll do the same in return. And that also goes for Instagram at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. And also, if you're on Facebook, definitely check me out at the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports groups going on social media. Canes and Hoosiers, not the championship matchup that we anticipated at the beginning of the season. But you know what? That is why you play the games. That's the beauty of college football. Okay, this is what it's all about. One of these teams is 60 minutes away from football immortality. For Miami, they're looking to win their first championship in 24 years. And of course, for Indiana, they're looking to do it for the first time in program history. So either we're going to have a big time party on South Beach, or we're going to have a big time party in the Heartland. Got to wait and see what happens. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be a great game. And at the end of the day, I'm going with IU to take home the hardware. But once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.